I tell you what, Chris Arps, yesterday you and I were having a little conversation via texting.
It was not on Confide, right?
It was not on Confide.
Okay.
I have all of the evidence right here on my phone. And you pointed out to me that you thought that it would not be this legal case, this legislative report that ended up affecting the governor the most in terms of putting his job at risk, but rather would either be the investigation into the donor list or the investigation into the use of Confide.
I did.
So, lo and behold, maybe you had some insider information here. Josh Hawley comes out this morning and makes his announcement. What do you make of it?
Well, I tell you, I think today's announcement by the Attorney General was predicated on yesterday's announcement by the governor's attorney against Josh Hawley, saying that he needed to recuse himself from this case. I don't think you would have seen this press conference from Josh Hawley this morning if that event wouldn't have happened. I think people within political circles view this as because the governor is, quote unquote, attacked the Missouri Republican Party's golden boy who's running against Claire McCaskill, that he's in for the fight. He's not going anywhere, and he will take down the party and anybody else that's within the party if that's necessary. And that's how I view that.
You think that's why he made this announcement? Now, apparently he met with the circuit attorney's office here yesterday at some point. I don't know if it was after that or not, but you really think that's what premeditated all this?
I do, because
precipitated, I should say.
Because I think that as long as the governor has all these problems that are hanging around on him, that's going to directly affect the Josh Hawley and all of the races down ballot. And I think the Attorney General and his office were still kind of waiting that the governor maybe eventually will see the light and will step down. And I think that announcement yesterday showed them he's not. And they basically saying we've got to get him out of here before he drags us down.
I think that Gus, the caller I had on right before you, hit the nail on the head as to how a lot of my listeners are going to see this. They're going to see Josh Hawley assisting Kim Gardner in her persecution of Eric Greitens, because she wouldn't have had this additional opportunity to charge him had Hawley's office not handed this off to her. Now, somebody may argue it was his legal duty to do so. All I'm saying is a lot of people see this as a witch hunt on the part of her, and now Josh Hawley is handing her additional ammunition to use in that witch hunt. Jason, what do you have to say here? Hold on.
Well, that's right. A lot of our listeners feel the same way. We had listener Mike on our Facebook page say, love your show, listen when I can on Josh Hawley. In my opinion, seeing him assist the circuit attorney with her bogus case tore it for me. We knew what Gardner's agenda was during her campaign. For Hawley to help this slug to further his campaign told me all I need to know. I will no longer vote for Hawley no matter what he runs for.
Wow.
Claire McCaskill has to be the luckiest politician on the planet. She escaped in 2012, and with all of this turmoil going, or 2016, or whenever she was elected last.
It was 20.
And she looks like she's about to get almost lucky again. It's amazing.
It really is time for the people of America to take up pitchforks.
I'm telling you, it is.
And the thing is, look, we're all team players. I get it. We're Republicans. We're conservatives. We want to see our people in office. And we're partisan. I get that. But if the Attorney General has information showing that this donor list may have been gathered illegally, which is a felony, you can't be mad at him.
We know that subject was already under investigation. I'm not casting aspersions at Josh Hawley. I'm telling you what some of my callers have said. They're a little angry that he gave Kim Gardner more information to potentially hurt the governor
but he's obligated to do that. He
has already called for the governor's resignation himself.
Well, I'm not an attorney, but I think he has a ethical and legal obligation that if you come across evidence of a crime, especially if you are the Attorney General, you've got to pass it along.
I have generally been a Josh Hawley fan from the time I first saw him speak, when he was still a constitutional law professor at the University of Missouri, at the Reagan-Lincoln Day dinner here in St. Louis County, probably 4 years ago. I saw him speak there. I was immediately a fan after talking to him and interacting with him. I was pretty impressed by him. I supported him for Attorney General, and I think he will end up making a great U.S. Senator, because you have to say he's in the far and away in the likely candidate to be the Republican nominee.
Maybe.
And I think he is.
Okay.
You don't think so?
With all
you think
this,
that, now this may hurt. I think this hurts him among some of the people in the base.
Exactly. With this new development that's going on, and people are mad at Josh Hawley because he's basically doing his job, then you never know what's going to happen.
I don't know about you guys, but I smell a secondary listener poll this week.
Could be. We may have to do another Twitter poll. I'm glad that you brought that up. Hey, let's get to a couple more phone calls here. Dave's been holding on. Dave, what say you? You're on with Marc and Chris.
Hey, guys, all the governor got to do is change his affiliation from Republican to Democrat, and they leave him the hell alone.
True.
That's probably true, Dave. Although he doesn't have any more friends in the Democratic Party than he does in the Republican Party right now.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, thank you for the
lonely
call
out there on the island.
That could be. Hey, Roger, welcome into the show.
Hey, Marc, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I really believe that the governor will win in a court of law on all these charges. Whether it's the donor thing or the mistress pictures and stuff like that right there. But I really agree with Rodney Boyd that he's got to win in the court of public opinion. He's got to come out and denounce these things and let the people know where he stands on this and what the truth is.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys taking my call and appreciate the work you do for us.
Hey, Roger, thank you for the call. We appreciate that very much. Hey, Steve, good afternoon.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just think it's almost like mirroring the image of what's going on in Washington right now with Trump. He was a political outsider. Trump was a political outsider. I always go back to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. The old Jimmy Stewart movie.
Right.
And, they start out there. They get you in the circle, they use things against you, whatnot, and everything else, and you come up through the political ranks. Trump was an outsider. Greitens was kind of an outsider. I just don't think they know any way to control him or deal with him or anything else, so the best thing is look for skeletons in the closet. And I think if they go after anybody, they can find tons of skeletons in their closet.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff happened before they were in office and everything else, so it's I'm kind of really, I hate to use the term witch hunt. I think it's overused, but I really feel that that's what's going on.
But answer this. But what if you open up that closet door to expose your skeletons? I mean, does the governor have any responsibility for all of these allegations and all of this stuff coming out? Is just people just attacking him just for no reason?
No, I don't think they're just attacking him for no reason. I think they're attacking him for political gain because they don't have any other way to control him. I really, truly believe it's the same way with the president. They're thinking, how can we control this guy? And I just feel that when all this comes out, sure, yeah, those without sin cast the first stone.
Yep.
But we don't get a chance to look at the other side and what they're doing. All we do is get to see one side of it. And you go back to the Hillary Clinton and everything else and all the stuff that went on there, but she had enough political clout and political favors and probably enough on everybody else that was around her, that it wasn't a situation that she could bury real easy.
Yeah, she didn't have 9 lives, she had 90.
Yeah. Well, and it's, some of my friends, I love it, they were Chrysler workers, and they turned against Claire McCaskill because she stood in Chrysler and said, I will save this plant. This is the most economical plant, just stood there and told them exactly what was going to happen. And they immediately was like, she didn't do nothing to help them at all. But
yeah,
now,
well, Steve, got to run. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. I had Jim Lemke on yesterday.
I heard.
And I thought one point that Jim made was an insightful one because he pointed out that to part of Steve's point here, Eric Greitens ran, and even when he was on my air, he must have used this line 100 times about these corrupt career politicians. He used that line over and over again, corrupt career politicians, and it wasn't targeted to one or two politicians. It was targeted to anybody who was an incumbent or had been in office for a while, and a lot of these guys and gals took that very personally, I think, on both sides of the aisle. It's not the only reason he's got a lot of political enemies, but it certainly played a role in it.
I think a lot of people liked the governor and understood that the he was running against them, the corruption and all that. I think they understood that. But I think when he took it a little farther with the dark money attacks and the kind of the personal stuff against people, I think that's what really turned people the wrong way.
Well, 314-241-9797, the phone number. Tell us what you think about it. Chris Arps will stay here in the studio with me. You know, one thing we haven't even touched on today, Chris said that that Claire McCaskill is the luckiest politician that he's ever seen in terms of what happens just before her reelection campaigns every time. You know what today is, don't you? It's tax day, right? Yeah. Now, a lot of us have already filed our taxes, or you've already paid, or, you know, whatever the case. But for a lot of people, they wait till the last minute because they owe money, and they have to go out and they have to put a check in the mail this afternoon. Claire McCaskill voted against keeping more taxes in your wallet, and it's a fair point to make that on tax day, she's having a really good day today. Just think about that. Yeah. With this announcement today, it makes it a good day for Claire McCaskill, and that's kind of sad. All right, quick break. 314-241-9797. We're back in just a minute.